Chris the Nightmare Ariola, and you're watching Mission Boxing Today on YouTube.
Heavyweight boxing fans, what's the deal? All right, so I got a chance to check out Parker versus Cojanu. And, wow. Overall, wasn't one of his more impressive victories. I'll say that. It's pretty lackluster, but that fight to me is very unique. Now, people know that, you know, Cojanu was a sparring partner, but what's deeper about that, in my opinion, is he was just his sparring partner for the Fury camp. Like, literally, he was just sparring with this guy, and I believe Kevin Berry said that they sparred over or around 55 rounds. So they sparred each other 55 rounds for when Parker was preparing for Hughie Fury, and he was the primary sparring partner. So I'm not sure. This is kind of a unique situation, in my opinion, because I don't remember. This possibly could have happened sometime in history. Maybe I just don't remember, or maybe I just don't know. But I don't remember a guy not just fighting your sparring partner. That always happens. But the guy you were just in camp with, and then 2 weeks later, you guys are fighting each other. So you guys pretty much prepared for each other by sparring one another, and then you guys fight 2 weeks later after that. I'm not sure if that's ever happened. If it has, please leave it in the comment section for me. And then to go a little bit step further, Cojanu and Parker also, he also used Cojanu as his primary spar partner for Dimitrenko. And that fight was what, last fall, I believe. I think it was last fall. So the last 8 months, you know what I'm saying? Something like that. These dudes have sparred probably close to 120 rounds, probably somewhere in there. I'm not sure about the exact number, but I do know he was just the last few months, the last couple months, they've been sparring each other. He's been using him as primary sparring partner. So I thought that was unique, man, going into this fight. And I spoke about it before. But so as far as the action in the fight, man, I think I gave Cojanu round 10. I think it was round 10. He just opened up a little bit more. But really, man, it was, it was like Parker had trouble getting him out of there. And we look at Cojanu, comparing him, if he were to fight the other heavyweights, I would pick the other heavyweights by knockout. When I say the other heavyweights, I mean Wilder, Joshua, the top guys. I would pick them to knock Cojanu out. I know he got knocked out by Donovan Dennis. Donovan Dennis, he was actually a decent American amateur here on the national scene. He was pretty decent. Seen Dennis fight in the Boxino tournament when he beat Cojanu, knocked him out. And I seen him fight Jarrell Big Baby Miller. Miller actually knocked him out pretty vicious. Donovan Dennis. But anyways, wow, it's, as far as the fight, man, Parker, he did what he had to do. He was landing good combinations and scoring. First, he was coming forward, being the aggressor, being the bulldog in the fight. And he just really couldn't hurt Cojanu, man. Cojanu was tiny. He was just big and awkward, like I said, going into the fight. Using his jab, showing his shoulder, giving Parker the left shoulder, kind of fighting with his hands down. He was mocking Parker here and there. Really not doing much as far as, trying to create some damage, but he was just mocking Parker. He just wasn't going down. Really never seemed to get hurt or really buzzed in the fight that I can remember. I watched it this morning. And then when Parker seemed as if he couldn't get him out of there, he didn't push it to, third, fourth gear. He just kind of said, all right, I'm not going to get the dude out of there. Let me just coast to a decision. Then I seen Parker kind of going on the back foot a little bit, stop, plant, land 2-3 punch combinations, move again. Then later in the fight, man, it looked like Parker slowed down a bit. And Cojanu had opportunities to make something happen, man. He had Parker. There's a few times Parker just went into the corner kind of and just, was there, moving his head a little bit, but just flat-footed in the corner. And Cojanu didn't do anything. He landed one jab, fall in, put Parker in a headlock. And Parker started to smarten up a little bit during the fight. When Cojanu was getting him in the headlock, Parker was kind of stepping behind him. I wish I can show. I should have just used the bag for this post-fight to show you what I'm talking about. But, he was kind of slipping under the headlock when he was wrapped up and trying to position himself to land some punches on the side, kind of be on the side of Cojanu. Wow, man. This is a weird fight, man. Cojanu had 30 pounds advantage in weight. just being really awkward, man. He was keeping Parker on the outside of his punches, man. There was a few occasions where I was like, man, if this dude could put some punches together and and actually go for it, who knows what happened, but he really didn't go for it, man. He was just like, I'm not gonna say he was happy that he was surviving, but he just had like a sparring partner's mentality, like, oh, you can't hurt me. You're not hurting me. Like Parker would land 3-4 punches in a row. Didn't hurt him. It didn't hurt Cojanu. Didn't buzz him. And Cojanu may land like one jab after Parker get done with his combinations and retreat. And then Cojanu would land a jab and then, just be, and he was just fine with that. Kind of fine with, hey, you're not hurting me. I'm still standing. Stick his tongue out. Put his hands in the air. Look at the crowd. To let them know, hey, he's not hurting me. And to him, that was good enough. That's what it seemed like watching it. Kind of like, hey, I went 12 rounds. And who knows? In Cojanu minds, maybe he thought he won the fight. Just the way that he was behaving. And you run across a lot of fighters like that where they think, well, hey, you didn't hurt me. You didn't knock me down. You didn't knock me out. I punched you back. You know what I mean? So it was a close fight. You know what I mean? So, but it wasn't a close fight as far as scoring it. But it was kind of a lackluster performance. Especially, because we're all coming off that hangover of Joshua Klitschko, man. It's kind of hard to follow that one up, man. So where does Parker go from here? I'm curious to see what Wilder or what he says about Wilder and how far that goes. I know Wilder wants to unify with Parker. Parker and Wilder's team have been in communication with each other ever since Parker won the title the night he fought Ruiz. They've pretty much been in talks, been in contact. If you guys remember, in like January, Huey Fury, Wilder, and Parker, all three camps were in contact with each other. And then we know that Wilder ended up signing the fight Warjic, then Warjic tested positive for drug testing, and Gerald Washington got the fight. And then Huey Fury just ended up signing to fight Parker, and we know how that shit turned out. A lot of people saying, hey, man, if that was Huey Fury this morning, or, well, that's when I watched the fight, but if that was Huey Fury fighting today against Parker, a lot of people thought Fury would have won. Man, shit, man, because, he was kind of fighting similar to Huey Fury, just his hands wasn't as fast. But the way he was using it, just some of the mannerisms Cojanu was doing in the ring kind of resembled what Huey Fury does. He doesn't fight exactly like him, but kind of some of, they had some similarities. You know what I mean? But that fight's neither here nor there, man. Fury didn't, or I guess he was injured or whatever, but he lost his opportunity as of right now. You know what I mean? So all that he could have, should have won today, it didn't happen. He came up with his reasons as to not take the fight. All right. And another thing about Wilder and Parker, I want the fight. Now, you guys know, man, I've been consistent about wanting unification and undisputed. So I kind of feel like I'm repeating myself when I say that. I say that in every fucking video, it seems like, for the last 2 years, or shit, since 2010 to be serious. But for this channel, for the last year and a half, almost 2 years, I've been saying, unification, undisputed in the heavyweight division, in all divisions. But, there's one obstacle, man, where, I want this Parker fight as much as, or Wilder to fight Parker and, as much as everybody else. But I just want to be realistic, man, and just, talk about things that are right in front of our face, like Stiverne. What are we going to do with Stiverne? Does Wilder just need to go ahead and just fight him and get it out the way with? Because it pretty much looks like Stiverne is in training to fight Wilder. I follow Stiverne on Instagram. I've told you guys this before. Follow him, you guys. Watch him. Go see yourself. I'm not just making this up. The dude is trained. He's been training for weeks. And if you go on his Instagram photos or videos, right under, the caption, he talks about Stiverne, hashtag Stiverne Wilder 2 and the new champion hashtag, so he's hashtagging all this stuff like he's about to fight Wilder. And he's putting up training clips of him training and training. So I believe he's about to fight Wilder. I know Wilder said he has no interest in fighting Stiverne. He wants to unify and fight Parker and all these other guys, but it just seems like Stiverne may be who he's going to fight next, whether we want that or not. That seems as if that's what's going to happen. And if it is, WBC, please, I'm begging, can you guys please just make the fight official so we can get it over with, if that's what's going to happen. Like, how fucking much further do we need to drag this, man? Like, because you got fans talking about Wilder, Parker. You even got Wilder himself talking about wanting to fight the other guys, and he's not really mentioning Stiverne. So if that's what you guys are going to force him, you know, and make him the mandatory, then come on, man, let's get this shit signed and over with, you know? So Parker, man, I'm not sure how I haven't heard from them from their team yet as far as what they're going to do next, but I'm trying to look at some realistic situations. Now, yes, I want to see Parker to unify, okay? So now that that's out the way, I think there's going to be some obstacles there with everybody having mandatories. Joshua has mandatories. He has 2 mandatories, Pulev and Ortiz. All right, Wilder with Stiverne. Parker, Huey Fury, today was supposed to be his mandatory defense for Parker. And then it was turned into a voluntary when Fury pulled out. So what is the WBO going to make Parker do next? You look at their rankings. Well, even before we get to the rankings, Tony Bellew is a guy that's kind of positioned himself into one of these type of fights. And believe it or not, Tony Bellew versus Parker for a circumstance like this, if we can't get any unification fights, is not a bad idea. But let me tell you why it's not that bad the more I think about it. Remember, guys, in December, maybe even before, I think it was November, December-ish, the WBO, yeah, it was when Parker and Ruiz was made. Remember, guys, when that fight was made, the WBO said that they were going to give David Haye the mandatory. He would fight the winner. You guys remember David Haye was initially going to fight in December, but the fight, it just didn't happen. Then he ended up signing to fight Bellew, and then he ended up fighting Tony Bellew. But when he took that fight, the WBO took that away, and then he wasn't going to be the mandatory. They just took him out the rankings. So technically, Bellew beat the guy that would have been the mandatory. I know it's kind of, that would have been the mandatory. So, and he beat David Haye, a guy that had a name. I know David Haye didn't fight the best opposition when he came back fighting Arnold Jerichai and Mark Demore, but still a formidable opponent. Still, I had him in my top 10, David Haye, before going into the fight with Tony Bellew. So shit, Bellew did win the fight, man. So I mean, Tony Bellew and Parker wouldn't be a bad matchup. About the same height. Is the reach about the same? I don't have the stats in front of me, but I know Parker, as far as weight, is just you look at his build, his legs, his arm. I mean, he is solidly built, man. So I think he is a bigger man as far as weight naturally than Tony Bellew. But man, just Bellew's, I mean, he's been around the block. He's not some rookie, man. He's not some rookie. So I think it could be a competitive fight, to tell you the truth. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I think it'd be a competitive fight. And not just from the fight today with Parker, but just when I seen Parker fight Ruiz Jr., Takam, I think Bellew could pose some problems. I think that I would pick Parker to win the fight, but I think the fight being in the UK, it'll draw a big crowd. They love Tony Bellew there. It'll be for a world title. The UK fans, they're buzzing right now. You got Joshua. I know Tyson Fury, the last 2 years have been just sitting around doing nothing, but there's still that buzz from him beating Klitschko a few years ago. Now you got Joshua, and then you throw Tony Bellew in there. I think it'd be a cracking fight, man. I think it'd be a good event. I think it'd be a cracking fight. So Parker versus Bellew for a good check for the UK, because I know he's trying to fight abroad now. I know he's not trying to just fight New Zealand. I know they talked about possibly fighting out in Macau and the UK and the USA. So the UK versus Bellew, I think that'd be a good fight. If they don't choose to go that route, you look at the WBO, you got Christian Hammer rated number 2. Christian Hammer, a guy who has stringed together, some good wins since his loss to Fury. And who has Christian Hammer beat notably? Erkin Tepper and David Price. 2 fights that he was not, he was the underdog going. He was underdog going into both of those fights, and he came out victorious. So he's number 2. Number 3, you got Jarrell Miller. Number 4, Andrew Ruiz Jr. Number 6, Dominic Brazil. You got, Pulev at number 5, but Pulev is an IBF mandatory. I think he's going to just take that route and try to fight Joshua. With the WBO, man, I would like for them to make Hammer versus Miller or Hammer versus somebody, man. Well, Miller, because they're 2 and 3. I think they should fight for the mandatory spot. I just don't think it should just be, and the WBO didn't say this, so, you know, I guess we have to wait and see what they're going to do. But I hope they just don't hand it to Hammer or hand it to Miller or whoever. And this goes for all sanctioning bodies. This is why I'm so hell-bent that Stiverne should have had to fight Ortiz or Dillian White or somebody to earn that mandatory. I know what happened with Povetkin, but this is my problem with the sanctioning bodies, man. Like, you know, they're just, you know, it's been going on for years, man. But sometimes, you know, with these rankings, man, they should make these guys fight each other that are in the rankings to earn the mandatory spot. You know, eliminator bouts, man. Like, we should have some eliminator bouts going on right now in the WBO. But then I'm hearing that Anthony Joshua, I heard initially that they're talking about October, November is when he's coming back. But then I thought I seen something where Joshua said he wants to fight, you know, before that or something. So I guess we'll see what's going to happen with Anthony Joshua, man. But I think he's going to he's going to have to fight Pulev and Ortiz, whichever order. I think Pulev first. I know a lot of fans are saying that Parker just fought. So I guess I'll have to wait for some articles to come out, see what his team has to say. But Parker's free now, you know, but a few days ago before he was free, free meaning that he just, you know, got his fight over with Cojanu and not, you know, and we'll see what he's going to do next. So I guess he's free. But like fans are saying that Joshua's ducking Wilder and how, you know, yes, I would like for Joshua to say Wilder's name a little bit more because I think that's a cracking fight, man. If you don't like it, if you think he needs to deserve it and all, I mean, okay, that's your opinion. I think he's well deserved because not so much that Wilder has beaten a future Hall of Famer, just the fact that they're two of the top. If you put I don't know about you, but if I put a top 4 list together, top 5 heavyweight list, I'm going to have Wilder, Joshua in that top 5. If you're top 5, you need to just fight each other. To me, if I have a top 4, top 5, I don't look at it like, all right, you know what? For the number 1 guy to fight the number 3 guy, the number 3 guy has to deserve. No, just you're all top 5. I want to see you all just get it on and fight. That's just the way I look at it. If you have a different opinion, that's fine, man. But I don't think that, you know, Joshua and Parker are ducking Wilder. You know, it's so much of mandatory shit going on. Like, those are obstacles, man. And unless you guys want Joshua to, and then shit, Joshua may have a rematch with Klitschko. You got to put that on it. So it's like the 2 mandatories and a possible rematch. It's like he's tied up damn near by default, unless he wants to just say, fuck my titles and I'm going to just fight Wilder for his 1 title. You guys get what I'm saying? Or even if he can get the Wilder fight right away because Stiverne's in the way, I believe. You know what I mean? So it's just so much of man. But I'm almost thinking these dudes should just go ahead. And some of these mandatory fights would be intriguing. You know what I mean? They could be intriguing. You know, Pulev, I would favor Anthony Joshua. Pulev has a hell of a nice jab. I think he's going to need more than that. Especially, you know, I've seen his last 2 fights against Peter and Kevin Johnson. He's looked all right. You know what I mean? But he has a damn good jab, though, man. I seen that jab hurt Klitschko, knock Klitschko off balance. You know what I mean? If he could follow it up with some right hands. But I think he fights similar to Klitschko as far as the way he positions his hands. I don't think he's fast of a puncher as Klitschko. I don't think he moves on his feet as well as Klitschko. I think Joshua would knock Pulev out. But it's an intriguing fight, though. It is. You know what I mean? And Pulev, in my opinion, is a top 10 heavyweight, in my opinion. Overall, not just sanctioning body, but overall. So I think it'd be intriguing. So I'm not going to say that I hate the fights, but me being just how I am, I just want to see an undisputed champion, man. And people keep telling me, nah, man, let's not rush it. Let's not rush it. And it's like, I don't know what some of you guys are talking about when you say let's not rush it. I'm not like, I think some of you are just looking at the division from like since 2015 when the titles all got mixed up after Fury beat Klitschko and then Fury got stripped. So I think you guys are, I think some of you fans are looking at the excitement as of right now. But when I say I want undisputed, I'm talking about we haven't had an undisputed champion since Lennox Lewis. Like, man, I've been waiting over a decade for a fucking undisputed champion. Like, so when you guys say, no, we need to wait, stop rushing it, it's like, dude, which timeline are you guys going by? Like since 2015 and with these group of guys, let's not rush it? Or are you guys going from just since when Lennox Lewis was undisputed? I'm going back from then. Like, I'm going back from the late 90s and the early 2000s till now, man. Like, so when you guys tell me we shouldn't rush it, man, I'm thinking about 13, 14 years ago, man. I'm not thinking about just the last year and a half. So but that's just me though. You know what I mean? But you know, if we have to wait, man, we have to wait. There's no reason for me to keep making, and that's why, you know, I try not to make too many videos just repeating myself, man, because I mean, if you guys come to my channel, you guys know I'm all about unification and undisputed. I just don't understand, you know, I just don't know how many more times I got to keep saying that. And just because I say it a lot doesn't mean it's going to happen that fast. You know what I mean? So we might have to sit through these mandatories, man. It's not what I would want. You know what I mean? And then I'm curious to see what the WBA is going to do just regardless, man. Just with this Briggs and the Kendo, the winner of that will be the WBA regular title holder. So how would that fit in? But, you know, as of right now, though, Ortiz is the mandatory for the super title, you know, for the title that Joshua has. So I guess we'll see, man. Then Ortiz, he's in a unique situation because he's also, he's rated number 2 by the WBC. You know what I mean? So he's rated highly by although he's not a mandatory, but he is rated number 2 by the WBC. He is the mandatory for the WBA. I believe he's in the top 10 of another sanctioned body too. I forget. But then I'm also just curious, you know, what's going to happen later on this year with David Haye, Lucas Brown, and Alexander Povetkin. I know Povetkin is due back in the ring, I believe, July 1st or July 2nd. And I believe BJ Flores and Tony Thompson both called out Povetkin for a fight. I believe both of them. I know BJ Flores did. I believe Tony Thompson just did too. I believe that's who Thompson just called out. I think both of those dudes get knocked out. But I'm curious to see what's going to happen this year with those 3 guys. I know Hayes healing from an injury. I know he was saying that by the end of the year. I think he wanted his rematch with Bellew, but I guess we'll see. And then you got Lucas Brown and Povetkin with their drug testing situations. Look, just curious to see what's going to happen this year with those 3, man. That's just, I'm just curious about that. But, yeah, man, what do you guys think about Parker's performance today? I know a lot of fans are going to say, oh, he's a bum. He's a bum. He got exposed and all that. Well, great. Because you know what? When I converse with a lot of you, man, from all these guys, from like all these fans from all these different fan bases, all you guys think that the opposition are bums. I've heard not all you guys, but the majority of you fans think that, you know, if you're a big Wilder fan, you think Joshua's very beatable. I mean, all these dudes are beatable, right? They're fucking human. But, you know, you guys tell me all the holes you see in everybody else's game and how Wilder can knock them all out. That's fair enough. Shit, he probably could. For you Joshua fans, you guys think Wilder's chinny and he's a bum. What you got? Bum squad and Parker's a bum, you know, so, and then I've heard the Parker fans say Wilder's chinny and, you know, so great. Everybody's a bum. Everybody's beatable. Everybody has holes in their game. So awesome. Let's get in here and fight then. You know what I mean? But I think we may need to sit through some of these mandatories first, man. I think that's just, if I had to put my money on it, I think the mandatories are going to have to get taken care of first. I think Wilder will have to fight Stiverne, and I think Joshua will have to fight Pulev. And Parker, I'm not sure what he's going to do, but hopefully they won't take a back-to-back type of, you know, hopefully his next fight could be against a mandatory, but I think the mandatory should be earned. If not, then just count it as a voluntary if he has to fight a guy like Christian Hammer. And although I know he's rated high, and I guess you know he is the next highest rated guy, but Jarrell Miller would be, you know, nice. I'd like to see that fight. You know, the Brazil fight. Brazil and Parker may happen too. I think Parker may fight Bellew. I think that's possible. Brazil's possible too. I know Brazil said that he wanted to fight Parker. Maybe they can have that fight maybe later on in the year. I know a lot of people saying Dillian White. Parker should get in there with Dillian White. Well, Dillian White has a fight coming up with Marius Wack in June, so who knows? But I know Dillian White is rated highly by the WBC, and I think the fight with him and Wack is the WBC. Is it another eliminator fight for the WBC? Well, I know they're both highly rated by the WBC. I'm not sure if it's eliminator or not. I'm not sure, man. But yeah, White's rated number 4 by the WBC. Wack is number 6. You know, so I guess we'll see, man. This is just my opinion on all this stuff. You guys let me know what you think in the comment section. I'm out.